Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, based on what has been shown so far, has a development trajectory that deserves to be highlighted for its long production period and its radical changes in direction. The game was initially announced in 2017, but its original production by Bandai Namco ended up not pleasing Nintendo, which, in 2019, made the brave decision to restart everything from scratch, bringing Retro Studios, the creator of the previous titles, back to lead the project. This, by itself, further fueled the community's anxiety and curiosity, which followed years of silence and speculation. It's interesting to see how the context of the development restart directly influenced fan hype and, honestly, my own expectations. There is no way not to feel a certain respect for such a difficult decision, which shows Nintendo's commitment to quality and what fans expect from the franchise. At the same time, it became clear that Retro Studios needed to adapt quickly, expanding the team and adopting modern technologies to work in 4K, ray tracing, and a more cinematic approach. When we finally saw the first trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond in 2024, it became explicit that the chosen path would be a mix between innovation and respect for the classic essence. The visuals really impressed, and even in recent previews, it can be noted that Switch 2 is being put to the test, bringing dense environments, engaging electronic music, and lighting effects worthy of the new generation. For those who enjoy that sci-fi, almost horror atmosphere, this is a real treat, but not without some surprises and bold changes. On the gameplay side, Beyond brings new features such as psychic abilities, the control beam, and even telekinetic interactions with the environment. This messes a little with the traditional formula, making the puzzles more creative and the combat less linear. But observing all this from afar, through trailers and journalist impressions, leaves that doubt. How far will these new features balance with the classic DNA of the franchise, that rhythm of silent exploration, oppressive atmosphere, and strategic combat, without sacrificing what makes Metroid Prime unique? One of the narrative choices that most intrigued me and divided the community was the inclusion of talking characters, an almost constant comic relief, and NPC escort sequences. This is a huge contrast to the more classic games, as Metroid has always delivered a solitary, immersive experience inside Samus's helmet. Seeing the preview comments, it seems that these changes might alienate some fans from the series' traditional, darker tone. For me, this sounds risky, and it will only be possible to properly evaluate it when actually playing. On the other hand, the Retro Studios team, by all indications, brought in outside talents, former Halo, Call of Duty, and Battlefield developers, to enhance the first-person shooting mechanics. This could be a welcome shift for those who expect a more polished and fluid combat experience, going beyond what we've seen in previous Metroid games. Considering all this, it is easy to understand why Metroid Prime 4 Beyond carries an enormous weight on its shoulders. As someone who followed every disclosure and rumor, the mix of narrative care, visual refinement, and attempts at modernization, not all consensual, make Beyond one of the most curious and potentially divisive releases in recent years. The desire to play, experiment, and finally draw my own conclusions only increases as the release date approaches. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is still one of those games that provoke more feeling than information. What has been shown so far makes it clear that the focus of Samus's return is aimed at something more introspective. The trailer gives an impression of isolation and an almost cosmic threat, something that fits perfectly with the series' identity. Even without many details, there is an aura of reunion, of a cycle closing after so many years of waiting. The feeling is that the series is trying to rescue not only the original atmosphere, but also the emotional tension that has always surrounded Samus. The visuals shown indicate that the game will bet on a denser, almost melancholic atmosphere, with planets that seem alive but dangerous. This artistic direction conveys a lot without needing dialogue, and Nintendo and Retro Studios seem to understand well that Metroid never needed to talk too much. There is something poetic in seeing Samus alone, facing unknown immensities, and that is what is most exciting. Even without knowing the full plot, it is possible to feel a theme of isolation and internal confrontation, almost as if she were fighting against her own legacy. One thing that draws attention is the use of the word beyond in the title. This suggests that the game may explore something that goes beyond the traditional limits of the series, perhaps both in physical space and in the character's psychology. It could be a metaphor for a Samus who goes beyond what we already know, or who faces a different threat than the previous ones, perhaps something that even questions what it means to be a bounty hunter. This ambiguity attracts me because it opens up space for theories and discussions, and that is something Metroid has always done well. From the few fragments of narrative shown, everything indicates that the tone is more mature. It doesn't seem like just another mission. The atmosphere and rhythm of the trailer resemble the type of science fiction that combines loneliness and transcendence. It gives me the impression that the game will explore more of Samus's relationship with the surrounding universe, possibly questioning her very biological nature after everything that happened in Fusion and Dread. If this is the case, it could be one of the franchise's most emotional approaches. It is also interesting how the mystery has been maintained. Retro Studios did not reveal villains, did not explain Samus's context, and avoided showing plot points. This is intelligent because it keeps the public curious and reinforces the aspect of discovery. Part of Metroid's strength has always been not knowing what is waiting for you in the next room, and it seems that Beyond wants to recover exactly that, but on a galactic scale. The general atmosphere of what was shown resembles that type of fiction that mixes beauty and despair. Even without complete gameplay, one can imagine the weight of immersion. If the story manages to balance silence and loneliness with moments of impact and meaning, something comparable to the impact of the first Prime might emerge, only emotionally more charged. The series has always been about exploring, but now it may be about understanding oneself, and that is very interesting territory for Samus Aran. Metroid Prime 4 gives the feeling of being more than a simple continuation. It seems like a return to the essence of what makes Metroid special, only filtered through a more mature and contemplative perspective. Even without knowing the details of the plot, there is a confidence that the story will speak more through the atmosphere and discoveries than through direct exposition. And that, for a saga like Metroid, is already a great sign. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, based on what has been released so far, leaves a great impression regarding gameplay, even though everything is very quiet and mysterious. The little we've seen suggests a natural evolution of the classic Prime series playstyle, with that mix of exploration, action, and puzzle solving that has always been the backbone of the franchise. The feeling is that Retro Studios is aiming to maintain the essence that made the first Metroid Prime games so beloved, while bringing technical and visual refinement for the current generation. One of the things that caught my attention the most was the fluidity of Samus's movements. The character seems more agile, and the animations are very detailed, suggesting gameplay that values both precision and immersion. One can imagine that the game will maintain that enveloping atmosphere construction, where every step, jump, and shot is part of a larger puzzle. This is very reminiscent of that feeling of being alone in a strange world, where everything can be a threat or the key to progression. Another cool point is the apparent focus on the setting and interaction with the environment. The environments look more alive and dynamic, with ultra-realistic textures and details that should allow for different forms of exploration and combat. The gameplay, at least visually, seems to contemplate an interesting mix between faster action sequences and moments of calm for exploration and strategy formulation. This creates a rhythm that can keep the player engaged for hours, exactly as the classic Prime games did. Samus's weaponry and abilities, from what could be gathered, seem to evolve, but without losing the functional simplicity that is a trademark of the series. It's not yet possible to know if there will be major innovations or totally new weapons, but the use of the visor and the effects of the shots suggest that each tool will have its specific role, both for combat and for exploration. This maintains the promise of gameplay focused on the diversity of tactical options, something that has always been one of Metroid's biggest appeals. I also perceive great care with the soundscape and controller feedback, which are crucial for games of this genre. The player's connection with Samus and the environment is reinforced not only by the visuals, but by the immediate responses on the controller, sounds that do not distract, but complement, and a soundtrack that should increase the tension. All of this together creates that immersion that is difficult to find in other first-person shooters. Overall, the gameplay of Beyond, based on what has been shown, promises to be a natural and respectful progression for the series, mixing subtle innovation with that familiar feeling of an expansive world full of secrets. Even without many details, the expectation is high, as everything Retro Studios has presented so far seems to be heading in the right direction to deliver a modern Metroid Prime, yet faithful to its roots. The game features graphics that impress at first glance and seem to elevate the series to a new visual standard. Retro Studios clearly made an effort not only to modernize the classic look of the franchise, but also to maintain that mysterious and unique atmosphere that defines Metroid. The feeling is that the artistic direction is not limited to following technical trends, but seeks to convey a visual narrative that complements the game experience. The use of lights, shadows, and atmospheric effects is a direct highlight in the released images. The environments look incredibly alive and dense, with a quality that mixes realism and science fiction concept art. This combination makes the player feel like they are truly exploring alien worlds, deep and unknown environments, where every corner can hide something important. It is a very strong visual signature, which seems capable of holding attention for hours. The textures and details in general seem to be at a superior level to what we have seen in previous games in the series, but without exaggerations that distract. This suggests that the focus remains on building a cohesive atmosphere and not just on ultra-realistic graphics without purpose. The impression I have is of a balance between technique and style, where beauty serves the atmosphere and immersion, and not just graphical ostentation. Samus, as a visual protagonist, also seems to be very well crafted. The armor has a robust finish, with metallic details that reflect light convincingly, conveying the feeling of functional and futuristic equipment. This attention to small details, such as shine and texture, helps strengthen the player's connection with the character, who is so central to the game experience. Another interesting point is how the game apparently balances the vastness of the environments with the density of detail. In the scenes viewed, the scenarios seem ample, with long distances and a real sense of scale, but they also carry small elements that enrich the world, such as alien vegetation and technological structures. This creates a visual contrast that must be quite captivating when playing, something that gives that feeling of constant discovery. Despite the high quality of the visual presentation, the game does not seem to sacrifice performance to achieve the graphics. Retro Studios appears to be working to deliver a fluid and responsive experience, which is essential to maintain the characteristic rhythm and challenge of the series. This is important because incredible graphics without good gameplay could harm the final package, but from what has been shown, Beyond seems to balance both. Overall, the graphics of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond seem to promise an interesting mix of technical fidelity, artistic creativity, and atmosphere. Even with little material released, the impression is that the game goes beyond just being beautiful. It wants to transport the player to an immersive, tense, and mysterious universe,
where every pixel has a role in telling the visual story of Samus Aran.
Metroid Prime 4 presents a performance that is impressive right from the start, especially considering that it runs on the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware. The game offers two main options: the quality mode, with 4K graphics at 60 FPS when docked, and the performance mode, which prioritizes fluidity at an incredible 1080p at 120 FPS. This choice demonstrates a clear commitment from Retro Studios to please both those who value superior visuals and those who prefer a more responsive and agile experience. What catches my attention the most is how this high performance makes the game extremely smooth and fluid. In reports from those who have experienced the game, the controller response is almost instantaneous, which is fundamental for Metroid Prime's gameplay, which relies heavily on precision in shooting and quick movement. The possibility of playing at 120 FPS, something rare on Nintendo consoles, is a big step for the series, which has historically always valued well-calibrated rhythm and challenge. Furthermore, loading times are greatly reduced, which eliminates one of the biggest complaints from players in previous games in the franchise. This increases immersion by allowing the player to spend more time exploring and less time waiting. The fluidity in the transition between areas keeps the atmosphere of suspense and discovery much more present throughout the entire experience. Even with the two graphics modes and high frame rates, there are no significant reports of sudden drops in performance, which reinforces the quality of Retro's technical work. The combination of a powerful chip in the Switch 2 with effective optimizations has made the title maintain its stable performance, which is essential to not compromise the challenge and atmosphere that define Metroid Prime. Another personal point that I really like is the fact that this performance allows for better controller response, which includes both traditional and motion control use. The precision in movements and in shots guided by the aim are highlighted as strong points, offering a more immersive and rewarding experience. This feeling of total control is essential for a game that combines first-person exploration and combat. It is also important to mention the adaptation of performance for portable and docked modes. Even in handheld, the game maintains an excellent frame rate with adjusted resolution, ensuring that the game is accessible and playable at any time, without losing quality or fluidity. This performance flexibility shows the team's care in providing a comfortable experience in various situations. Overall, based on what has been released and the reports from those who have already tested it, the performance of Metroid Prime 4 is one of the game's strongest points. The fluidity, responsive controls, adaptable graphics modes, and reduced loading times indicate that the game is set to be a technical reference on the Nintendo Switch 2, raising the series to a new level in terms of performance and player experience. This performance, aligned with the graphical and sound quality, creates a solid base for a memorable Metroid Prime experience.
The game arrives with a good dose of expectations, and whether it's worth buying at launch depends heavily on the player's profile. For those who have been fans of the series since the old Prime games, the feeling is that Beyond will be that long-awaited return, which maintains the essence while making a technical and narrative leap. If you're the type who doesn't like to wait and wants to experience the next big chapter of Samus Aran as soon as it comes out, the launch seems like a solid choice. On the other hand, considering that Retro Studios always seeks to deliver a polished experience, but sometimes the launches of complex games can have small post-launch adjustments, it may be sensible for those who are more cautious to wait a little. Initial reviews and feedback will help show details that are not yet clear, such as gameplay balance or minor bug issues, which are normal in large productions today. Those who should consider buying at launch are players who enjoy Metroid Prime not only for the visuals or story, but for the total immersion that the game provides. If you like to explore every corner, uncover secrets, and feel part of an alien universe, Beyond promises to deliver an experience that goes far beyond the common shooter, with that unique mix of tension, silence, and discovery. For more casual players, or those who are not so familiar with the series, it might be worth waiting for community feedback. The game seems to have depth and challenge that may require a certain amount of patience and dedication to enjoy to the fullest. If you are not ready for this at launch, taking some time may help you understand if the game really matches your playing style. It is also worth thinking about the platforms and hardware. Beyond was designed to take advantage of the Nintendo Switch 2, so if you are still on the previous generation, it may be interesting to consider whether it is worth updating the console to enjoy everything the game offers, or waiting for it to become more accessible for your current setup. The visual and technical expectation is high, and this alone makes the launch an important event for fans of Metroid and exploration games in general. If you value these qualities and don't mind being one of the first to experience something new, you will enjoy the experience of getting ahead and being part of the game's first impressions. The game is indicated mainly for fans of the series, players who love intense exploration and a dense atmosphere, and those who value performance and technical quality. Buying at launch is valid for enthusiasts who don't want to waste time, but waiting can also be a safe strategy for those who prefer to evaluate the first reports before committing. In any case, Beyond seems like a title that deserves your attention, whether immediately or in the near future.
Damn, ain't that fabulous? Can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough. I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost. We all know that we never really want a boss. So I'ma do what I want to. Something I can't undo. Yeah, I'ma do what I want to. Something I can't undo. I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy. Don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me? I'm taking 6 shots, yeah, straight to the face. And I wanna get lost, I'm sick of this place. Don't know how to stop when I'm feeling this way. So I'm taking 6 shots till I'm feeling okay. I think I'm going crazy. Don't think I'll get home safe. So I'm taking 6 shots all straight to the face. I'm taking 6 shots, are you coming with me?
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap. Only God wants, so you better go live it up. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Baby, I'm bad, baby, I'm bad.
I just wanna stay bad, stay mad. Chip on my shoulder cause they treat me like an outcast. I ain't gonna take that, stay back. I'll be swinging hard till the hits come in all caps. I ain't gonna lay back, pray that someone's gonna help me. Ain't nobody like that. I ain't gonna wait, that's all fact. Give me one shot and I'll never get the throne back. I'm sick of being cautious. I'ma go cause something, can't stop this. I'ma steal everybody's lane, call it shoplift. Sick of hearing everyone complain when they thoughtless. Taste the pain, it's like candy canes. It makes me go change into a better frame, into a better name. Society's insane, we all live for fame, yeah. Cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born around rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, do it no cap.